A beautiful night in the Bay Area to kick off week number 3 between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Jared Goff coming off of a 1-1 start, including a much improved offense, meaning this isn't Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde tonight. It is Carlos Hyde taking on a resurgent offense so far for the Los Angeles Rams. Niners still looking for their first touchdown of the season. Week 3 kicks off with a California clash of division rivals.
The 49ers explode!
With top talent on both sides of the ball. Are the resurgent Rams ready to contend?
Todd Gurley reaching in!
This is the Todd Gurley we've been waiting to see for a year, LA.
35 years after the catch. Relive one of the most iconic plays in NFL history. Plus, after disappointment in Denver,
Here is Elliott, nothing.
how can the Cowboys get Zeke back on track?
Come on, baby, let's get it.
It's all ahead on TNF GameDay, presented by KFC.
Revving it up, getting started, time to press play.
Come on, big dog. Come on, big dog. We have not played our best for you.
Plugging it in, level 10 to the earth. All eyes on me.
I need it all today, fellas.
All eyes on me.
Welcome to TNF GameDay, presented by KFC.
It is the kickoff to week number 3 of the 2017 National Football League season. 32 games already in the books. It's now time to kick things off here. For week 3, they're folding up the flag for the moment in preparation for tonight's pregame national anthem. And we are here in our seats right here on TNF GameDay, presented by KFC. My name is Rich Eisen. That is Marshall Falk, Steve Mariucci, and Michael Irvin at the end of the set. And you could already see the difference. I know the Rams have come off of a home loss against the Washington Redskins, in which Jared Goff threw a pick at the very end of the game. But all that said, you can see the Sean McVay led resurgence on the offensive side of the ball. Todd Gurley has resumed being the playmaker that we saw him be as a rookie, and just the number of times that Goff has been sacked, to the total yards, to the fact that they have put way more points on the board, Marshall Falk, gives a lot of hope, one would think, for the Los Angeles Rams going into tonight's game and beyond.
And it would give you hope. And the stats says so. If you look at the stats, you can tell that this team is ready to contend. But I'm going to say it goes further. If you continue to watch the maturation of Jared Goff and with these new receivers, and then the offensive line that's protecting him, and we know on defense, I mean, you had Wade Phillips, this collection of first-round picks. It says that the Rams are ready to compete against the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West. But I think as we continue to watch these young guys grow, Aaron Donald now is back into the fold. You get to see him play tonight. This team, I think they're ready in the NFC West.
And Les Snead's been growing this team over the last 5-6 years, okay? He built up the defense pretty darn well with a lot of #1 picks. And then now, you know, he passed the baton from Jeff Fisher to Sean McVay, and it's like, all right, let's get this offense going. Bring your offensive expertise to develop this young quarterback, add some linemen, add some receivers to take the next step, challenge Seattle. Seattle's the team to beat in this division. We know that. Can the Rams beat them this year? I don't know. Maybe we're a year away, because the systems with Sean McVay and Wade Phillips on defense are new. And it might take a full year to be very, very competitive. They'll make it interesting this year, but boy, I think the Seahawks are still going to be around.
The Rams have had some success, small success, against Seattle. Even when Seattle was at its peak and the Rams were near the gutter, they've had success. So they take that into any game that they'll have playing Seattle. And guys, when we say Seattle is the top and the cream of the crop, that's the old Seattle. This Seattle's a different Seattle team. With that offensive line and the hits that they're getting on Russell Wilson, they're only putting up 10.5 points per game. This Rams offense is putting up 33 points a game. Say what you will, and Coach, give Sean McVay all the credit in the world, because he deserves it to turn this thing around and put up that many points. with this young quarterback, when last year we were talking about this guy wasn't even ready to play, it's just an incredible job by him.
Well, in terms of playoff droughts, it has been quite some time since the Rams made the postseason, 12 seasons to say the least. As you can see, 2004 was the last time they were there, and I believe, Marshall, you were suited up for that game, were you not?
I was there.
And you... it didn't end with a Super Bowl, as you could tell by the tone in his voice. Melissa Stark is outside the stadium with a very fired up group of 49er fans and LaDainian Tomlinson. Melissa?
Hi, Rich. Yes, they're looking for some points out here, aren't they? Fans. I am joined by my Hall of Fame running back, LaDainian Tomlinson. Great to see you. And they were just talking about Seattle. Arizona not looking great. The 49ers are, even though the fans are excited, are the 49ers. How close do you see the Rams being as to making the playoffs?
Well, Melissa, I think they are close. I think they have the pieces now, both offensively and defensively. But I agree with Mooch. I think they're still a year away, simply because you have a new coach in Sean McVay and a new defensive coordinator in Wade Phillips. And sometimes it takes a full year for those guys to get used to the way Sean McVay called plays. And keeping in mind that Sammy Watkins was brought over in the trade, he's still getting up to speed on this offense, so he's not completely there. In order to challenge Seattle, you're going to have to pull up points. You're going to have to be able to run it and throw it. I'm not so sure that they'll be able to do that against Seattle.
Do you think Jared Goff is a quarterback that can lead them to the playoffs?
Well, so far he's shown the progression that you want in a young quarterback. He looks totally different from last year. I see a guy that's more confident. I see him scanning the field. I see him checking in and out of plays. I like what I see from Jared Goff. I just need to see a little bit more.
Well, we're going to see a little bit more in just a little bit. See if he gives the Rams fans something to cheer about, Rich.
Man, you got to wonder what's in their rice-a-roni out there. So check out the NFL Media Cruiser Sweepstakes. Spot it, snap a photo of it, post it to Twitter or Instagram with hashtag TNF Sweepstakes for your chance to win some very cool weekly prizes. Irv and Mooch are making their way out to the field for a demo segment in honor of the great catch. Aaron Donald catching some snaps tonight in his first full week of practice, one would say, despite the short week. He got back on the field last week after a holdout. We'll see how he fares tonight. A pretty neat demo coming up with Mooch and Irv and the members of Milpitas High.
TNF Game Day is presented by KFC's Nashville Hot and Honey Mustard Barbecue Georgia Gold.
Next episode of The Timeline, the team that came from humble beginnings.
We were misfits. We had no idea what we were going to be.
Then launched themselves into superstardom.
This team officially a powerhouse.
And the moment their offense revolutionized the game.
We ushered in a new era of football.
Well, it's a show you definitely wouldn't want to miss.
It don't get no better than this.
The Timeline, greatest show on turf. Tonight after the postgame, only on NFL Network.
The beautiful San Francisco Bay with Alcatraz right in the middle. Let's stroll down memory lane now, back in the 1981 season around these parts.
For the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Dwight Clark! It's a madhouse at
Montana to Clark, as called by Vin Scully and as enshrined here in the 49ers Museum in Levi's Stadium, and that's how we send things over to Mooch.
Okay, guys, time now to welcome in the Milpitas Trojans, right? Coach Kelly King?
Yep.
Thanks for coming, man. What do you guys, 4-0 this year?
Yes, sir.
4-0, big game against Saratoga tomorrow night?
Yes,
all right, well, good luck. We'll be watching you, okay?
Yep.
All right, now, you guys remember the catch?
Yes.
You remember the catch? Yes. We are going to reenact the catch, all right? Let's demonstrate this to Dwight Clark. You guys know your spots? Yes, all right, hit him. Let's go. Let's go.
Come on. Let's get this in.
All right. So let me tell you, let me set the stage here right now. 1981 NFC Championship game with the Niners against the Cowboys. Michael's Cowboys. You weren't there yet, all right? 81. Yes. 58 seconds left. The Niners are losing by 6. We need to score a touchdown, all right? Bill Walsh calls a timeout, and he says, Joe, we're going to run red left, sprint right option, all right? For the touchdown, he reminded him, think about Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone. So we can take the ball, you're going to block the edge, set, hut, and sprint right all the way with Joe Montana. Michael, talk about the wide receivers.
Okay, now, out here, we got Dwight Clark, and we got Freddie Solomon. And back in these days, receivers, 1981, even when I came in the league, receivers and they were still in a three-point stance so we can get that release. Now, Freddie Solomon is going to go up and just run a quick out. His job is to get to the front flag. The front flag. I am, as Dwight Clark, going to leave this route. I'm going to take a release, right? I got Everson Walls on me. I got to sail this crosser. I got to sail this crosser for 2 reasons. To beat my DB and make sure the time measures out right. He's going to read Freddie Solomon. I sail the crosser. He's coming back late. I'm coming back out down the back end line towards the back flag.
Okay, now, Joe Montana, he looks to number 1. He doesn't like it. It won't score a touchdown. Then his eyes go back and find number 2 in the back of the end zone with Dwight Clark. The problem is, big, Two-Tall Jones, he's about 7 feet tall. He's coming. He's coming. So Joe's got to shoot this thing high in the back of the end zone. Oh. Touchdown to Dwight Clark. 49ers win. 49ers win. And the rest is history.
That hurt me to do that to my Cowboys, but yeah, that was the history of it.
Yeah, that was, down goes the America's team. Now, here's the thing. We all remember the catch, all right? That was 36 years ago. We remember the catch, which started, and we all remember as football fans, the 49er dynasty of the 80s and the 90s. But I want everybody to remember tonight, Dwight Clark. He's not here with us right now today. He was unable to because he's suffering from ALS. That's Lou Gehrig's disease. He's having a rough time, but he's watching this. So I want everybody to remember Dwight Clark and their thoughts and in their prayers tonight and wish him all the best. Dwight, we love you.
I'm praying for you, buddy.
Well done, well said, Steve Mariucci and Irv. Play football and USA Football aim to give kids a safe and rewarding experience on the field at all levels of youth football. High school players, we want to see your best every week. Share your game highlights using the hashtag of Let's Play Football. And the best of the best make it into our top high school plays of the week right here on TNF Game Day. Here's the best high school play from last week. Cameron Baker, a junior at Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson High School in Iowa. This 80-yard touchdown run in which he refused to go down, breaking one tackle after another before he is free. Stiff arming, getting down the field. And just in case you think this is very beast mode-like of Cameron Baker, let's try and compare and contrast, Marshall.
Rich, it looks very similar to the run that Beast Mode made in the playoffs against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, this kid, oh my God. Oh, man, he looks like a man-child.
Man, he looks like he's too big for
I don't know if they measured anything on the Richter scale near Council Bluffs. Thomas Jefferson High, but well done right there. Todd Gurley, Tarboro High's finest in North Carolina. He was the player of the year in that state in 2011. Rushed for 2,600 yards and 38 touchdowns in high school in his final year there.
Oh, boy, that boy good.
And motivated by the motto, you versus yesterday, good. The 49ers coach of the week is Santa Clara High School's Hank Roberts. The Bruins, 2-1 this season, have already matched their win total from a year ago after opening the season with a 50 and a 60 burger. Good stuff. Wow. Here. Now, this guy looks like he's straight out of his high school photo. He just happens to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams at age...
Oh, stop it.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Stop it, Rich.
Sean McVay.
Stop it.
Getting ready for...
What does his age matter?
His first nationally televised game as head coach.
Yeah. NFL Network. Yeah. Well, let's get it there. Perfect, right? Football on a Thursday night. Bright light shining heavy. I see the NFL Network in sight. I mean, I can't think of nobody better if we're talking names. Better, man, than Michael Irvin and Marshall Falk from the Hall of Fame. And they co-signing with Rich Eisen and Mooch. That's Mariucci if you ain't got it. They knowledge sharp as they suits. So when it's third and long, this show is more than a good call. The network for the NFL. Thursday night football, game time. Yeah.
All right, would say that gives Mooch more street cred, but we'll just call it more cul-de-sac credibility for Steve Mariucci. Cul-de-sac credibility. Okay, so everybody's seen this with Ezekiel Elliott, right? He's just been standing there just watching somebody go the other way, like he's just strolling on the street by himself. Was he pouting over a 9-carry, 8-yard day? What was it with Ezekiel Elliott? As it was easily, I don't know what his high school numbers were, but you have to assume it's definitely his least productive day on a football field, perhaps in his life. And today, when asked about his effort and the discussion of it, he raised his hand and said, "My bad."
That's no excuse for the lack of effort I showed on tape, and I just can't do that. You know, being one of the leaders of this team and, you know, being a guy that people count on, I can't put that type of stuff on film. It's definitely not me. It's definitely not the type of player I am. It's definitely not who I am for this team, and, you know, I just can't do that. I was frustrated, and, you know, I wasn't myself.
Okay, so we're in here, and LaDainian Tomlinson is outside. I want to bring you in first, LT, because on Game Day Prime with Dion and the crew, you were very strident in your criticism of Ezekiel Elliott. You used the Q word, quit, on his team. What do you think about what Elliott had to say today?
Well, I like what he had to say. I like that he addressed it and he admitted it, you know, that he called it lack of effort on that particular play. And listen, we all have been there, what we seen on the sideline from Ezekiel, the pouting, if you will. We've been there. The specific film that I showed was that Chris Harris tape on the interception, what you just showed, where he did quit on that play. There's no question about that. You know, and that was my initial reaction when I seen that happen live. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I know this is a competitor. He's a great competitor, but on that particular play, he did quit.
Yeah, and we need to so we need to get this clear here, because I personally think, and all the things that you can prescribe to a competitor, an athlete, and I'm a pure football player and a pure competitor. The worst thing in the world that you can subscribe to this person is the word quit. And everybody extrapolates that and put quitter on it. Now, is he a quitter? He's a quitter. And this guy has been incredible on the football field and what he has done. Came in the league, led the league in rushing last year, had over 100 yards last week. He had in 1,000 plays that he has played, we pull out one play. And he said it. He was frustrated. He was very frustrated. And I understand you're being frustrated. You're a competitor. You want to play well, and you don't play well. But I can't go so far as to call him a quitter.
Mike,
you know what I mean?
No, Mike,
I can't go so far as to call him a quitter. And I think
Mike,
that's way out of bounds.
I didn't call him a quitter. When you call someone a quitter, it means he has consistently done this action. Yes. He hasn't. You're right. This was the first incident, and he quit on that play. I didn't say he was a quitter, because he hasn't done this continuously. But on that particular play, I don't know what would you call that, Mike? If that was your teammate,
we have a responsibility.
What would you call it? What would you call that play?
Our job is to bring our experiences and our knowledge and give our opinion on this desk. You gave that as your opinion. To put the word quit on an athlete on a football field is the worst word you can put on him.
Mike,
now, to say he was frustrated,
he walked away from the play.
Let me talk. To say he was frustrated and he has to mature and not show his frustration in this way would, I think, have been a better way of subscribing that play in that situation, as opposed to saying he quit.
First off,
we get players doing this on interceptions every week.
Mike, first off, we all out there battling. All those guys took off after Chris Harris Jr. The lineman, the quarterback, every one of those guys took off after. We're all out there battling, man. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you don't go after that guy, you quit on that play. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dez took about 4 or 5 steps, and he stopped too. Nobody subscribed quitting to him on that play. If you look at the whole play, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because so he was frustrated. There was frustration on the football field. All I'm saying is the worst word you can subscribe to an athlete, especially an athlete that led the league in rushing.
Yeah.
The guy led the league in rushing. Obviously, he is not a quitter. He may have had frustration. I'm glad he spoke today and said that he was frustrated. But LT, when you start doing that, you're not going to write all the newspapers. You're not going to do all the commentary. People are going to take that word quit and put quitter on it, and it'll be everywhere, and it'll be attached to his name forever. And that is not right. I don't care how you chalk it up and what dime you lay on the table.
Just jumping in, because, you know, you guys have both clearly made your points and reiterated them. I want to get your take on this, Marshall.
I think Zeke addressed it with his words about a lack of effort. I understand what LT is talking about, as well as what Michael is talking about. But I think what we forget, and sometimes we just put it on someone, and we expect him to come in and to be this mature individual that can handle these things. You have to understand, Ezekiel Elliott was drafted at 20. He turned 21 in July, turned 22 the July after that. He's a year and 2 games into a career, but we want him to act like a 10-year vet. Rich, I wish I could say that having that game, that kind of game, that I would have responded differently. I hope I would have responded differently. But if I'm sitting on the sideline and I'm sitting like Zeke was sitting, people are going to say something. If I'm walking up and down the sideline screaming at my teammates, people are going to say something. Yeah. Regardless of what you do in that situation, when you're a guy that's highly visible like him,
yep.
People are going to be critical of you, and I'm going to say this. I spoke to Ezekiel about this, and he said exactly that. I understand that people are going to be critical of me because of where I am right now in this league.
Yeah,
I want to be better.
This is going to be an eye-opener for Zeke because he's had such a great young career already. This is the first time everybody's talking about a play, whether you call it quit or gave up on the play or stopped or whatever that is. As a coach, this is what I would do, Marshall. I would grab him and say this: I expect full hustle and effort out of every play for every player, and I'm going to pull out a Hall of Famers tape from you, Marshall Faulk, when you were a youngster, when Peyton Manning would throw a pick, and you go chase this interception down because you're a tough guy, you're a football player, and that's not to say he's not, but this is what you expect from people, bam, to go and hustle and tackle that guy. And this is what Zeke has got to learn, that everybody plays snap to whistle, whether you have a chance or not. That's Terrell Buckley, right? Where's the tackle? Where's the tackle, Marshall? Keep him out of the end zone. I know if Zeke's watching this right now, this is how you play football. Frustration and immaturity, yes, but Zeke's a heck of a player, and he's a good guy. But you know what? He's got to learn to play every single down.
And we got to learn to make sure that we know what we're saying when we say things like that. And I understand what LT's saying. He said he quit on that play, but that's not how it's going to be perpetuated around this country throughout all the newspapers and what's attached to his name. Yeah, this kid is not a quitter. He stopped on that play because he was frustrated, Rich. And stopping on plays, something all of us have probably done because of frustration, and we let it out. Maybe not the way everybody wants to be let out, but he's not a quitter, and that's not right.
And let me just say this: it's not to call Zeke out and to make him look bad, guys. This is simply to challenge this young man. He can be a great player in this league, and just like you just saw with Marshall,
yeah, he is a great player.
Many of our he and continue to be a great player, Mike. But I'm saying, as the running back, most of our coaches always told us whenever a quarterback throws an interception, it is the running back's job to go chase that guy down and make the tackle. And that's what this is all about. When I seen him turn his head, turn away from the play and start to walk away, that's what I thought about.
And I have to jump in and say, we have to quit on this segment. We must.
We're not quitting, Rich.
I'm sorry. We have to leave the segment. We have to stand around and watch the segment. And I don't know what.
I understand this. I understand you guys aren't the competitor I am, and it doesn't grow at you when somebody uses that word. But it's the nastiest word in the NFL, and it's the nastiest word you can subscribe to a football player.
You know what?
Aaron Donald out there on the field.
You just hit me below the belt. You just hit me below the belt.
Coming up on TNF Game Day, presented by KFC. After a first season to forget, is top pick Jared Goff starting to prove his worth as a franchise QB?
And what a difference a year makes.
Plus, which 2-0 team is most likely to miss the playoffs? And which winless team still has postseason potential? But up next, former Rams running back Steven Jackson talks life after football.
I saw the families that were in dire need, and it just made me say, what can I do? How can I help?
It's all ahead on TNF GameDay, presented by KFC.
Tomorrow on Tackle My Ride.
Yeah, she's gonna love this, man.
Navarro Bowman gives one lucky Niners fan the surprise of a lifetime.
Are you serious?
Tackle My Ride, tomorrow at 8, only on NFL Network.
Sunday at 7. Peyton Manning tells us why Trevor Siemian can lead the Broncos to success.
The quarterback should be able to see a defense in his mind, and I think Trevor could do that.
And he dances into the end zone.
NFL Game Day morning, Sunday at 7, live on NFL Network.
I mean, San Francisco and the Bay Area, just a jewel of an American city and spot. Up the road here from Santa Clara, but we'll be showing you all these beautiful scenics throughout the day. Send things out inside the stadium to Melissa Stark. Melissa?
Rich, thanks very much. Steven Jackson played 12 seasons in the NFL, and the three-time Pro Bowl running back is still the Rams' career rushing leader. After retiring in 2016, the 34-year-old has returned to his hometown, a place where he feels an intimate connection.
It's been a roller coaster ride. I've been playing football since I was 7 years old, and it was a withdrawal for something I've loved for a long time. But then on the horizon, I saw how my future was going and how bright it could be.
To find that future, Las Vegas native Steven Jackson didn't have to look far. It was right outside his front door, in his hometown, and in his family. But first, Jackson had to find his focus in retirement from a game that had defined so much of his life.
They hand it to Steven. Great jump cut. 45. He sees a hole, burst through it. 20. Steps a tackle, runs left. 25 still on his feet. 10. 46-yard pull by number 39.
It's a part of a fraternity that I've been a part of for so long that I knew that one day, you know, the clock went in and the hourglass would come to zero, but I just did not know how to handle it.
Luckily for you, though, you have so many passions.
I always dreamed of being an architect. Having my footprint or my thoughts and ideas that I draw on paper and have that come into a 3D realization.
Last November, Jackson's future started to take shape, merging his love of architecture with his family's military legacy. Inspired by his grandfather who served in the Army and his father who served in the Marines during the Vietnam War, Jackson became a stakeholder in the Las Vegas Veterans Villages, a nonprofit organization that provides housing, food, and care for military veterans. How did your love for architecture translate into these villages?
Yeah, it really goes to the summer that I was considering retiring, and my father was diagnosed with stomach cancer. And we had to spend a lot of time in the VA hospital, and I saw the multitudes of volunteers. I saw the families that were in dire need, and it just made me say, what can I do? How can I help?
Oh, man.
Those, look at that, getting the goosebumps all over.
We're here to help house them. We're here to help get them to the different facilities that they need to go to just get back on their feet.
You have plans to expand the Veterans Village, even across the country?
That is the plan. That is the end goal. You know, I'm still that kid that loved the game of Monopoly. And, you know, you may start on Baltic Avenue, but the goal is always to end on Park Place. I think helping create the Veteran Village campus, I think it's helped shape me more in realizing that I'm a person of multiple abilities. I am just getting started, and I believe the future's bright.
Jackson hopes to get the model for the Veterans Villages solidified in Las Vegas and then grow the operation all over the country. He told me he hopes to be at the doorstep in Washington, D.C. Amazing work, changing lives, Rich.
No doubt about that, Melissa. There's Sammy Watkins out there. His acquisition was an eyebrow raiser, no doubt, during August. And we will see how he continues to get involved in the Rams offense tonight here in a sunny day in San Jose.
TNF Game Day is brought to you by Wrangler. With new styles and great fits, Wrangler jeans are ready for anything. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Bucket List is brought to you by KFC. Because no matter what year it is, fried chicken and football are a winning combination. Time for the Bucket List, presented by KFC.
You know, you're killing me already. We just started. Are you pouting?
Let's have some fun here, Steve Young. Let's have some fun. That's the first time that's been called in this league in 47 years. Woo! That's it! U group, here we go. Here we go. Brown right, F left, 65 lead. Let's go get it. Woo! I always brag about you guys. We sure make it interesting, but you know what? Nobody can beat us.
When I'm done with this, I'm gonna be one of those guys with 18 remotes. I'm gonna watch all these games.
How did you know that was going to be the case, Steve?
That's you.
That's kind of what we do every Sunday, though, isn't it?
You.
We watch all these games.
It was funny. Last week when we were in Cincinnati, before the Bengals kicked us off the field, you went up to the refs like you were still buttering him up, Steve.
You know what?
It was so funny.
I was their worst nightmare. Actually, I would get on those refs and they loved it.
They loved it. Did they really?
Yeah.
But you went up to him and you're just, how's it going tonight?
Hey, that one clip that said that hasn't been called in 47 years. You know what that was? We had to delay a game on the opening kickoff. I couldn't believe. I went crazy.
What was that?
Well, the kicker was fooling around and he didn't kick it. We kicked it and covered it and they whistles and they went delay a game on the kicker. I went nuts. I said, there's dogs catching frisbees on this field and planes going over and you call a penalty on the kicker.
Oh, you are a treasure, Steve Mariucci. All right, so now you've got two teams that are well, I mean, you could say the 49ers are starting from scratch in many ways. New coach, new general manager. The quarterback situation is completely up in the air. And then you've got Marshall, the Rams, that have some pieces, but a new coach and a new city, right? Obviously, the general manager is still the same. What is the process of rebuilding a franchise in the NFL?
You know, Richard, it's slow, it's long, it's hard, and you have to get lucky. And you got to think about what the Rams did defensively. I mean, they acquired some good pieces. They got some young guys that they put on that defense, and Robert Quinn and Alec Ogletree, and then you add an Aaron Donald. You know, you make some trades and get some guys to fit in. But then on offense, that's where it started to kind of go when you put a Gurley in there and then you make some moves and then you get your franchise quarterback in Jared Goff. But I think it really took off when they got the trade for Sammy Watkins. It said that, hey, we think that we are close with Robert Wood and Cup. They said, listen, we have an opportunity to maybe run away with this thing if we can get these young guys to grow together. And you see it. Now you add an offensive coach, a guy that's innovative with the mind to teach a quarterback and grow some players, and now you have a good nucleus. But you had to get yourself a Wade Phillips on defense, a guy who understands defense and how to make players better.
When I got to Dallas Cowboys, we were in a rebuilding mode, you know, to be honest with you. And it was more than just getting a collection of talent together. It was also about finding the right system to maximize that talent. At first, we had David Shula as our offensive coordinator, and we could not get going offensively. And we had some situations. We would come back and have these team meetings, and we would say, we're going to win, we're going to play, we're going to do these things. But the plays didn't fit our skill set. He brought in an offense that worked for the Miami Dolphins, and they worked for smaller receivers. I remember Jimmy Johnson coming to me one year and saying, he said, a lot of people have been telling me I should trade you. You know, you're not going to get back from the knee injury, and you're not the receiver you used to be. He says, but I'm not going to trade you. He said, what I'm going to do is bring in another offensive coordinator that can get you guys the ball and disperse it to your talent. That's when he brought in Norv Turner. Soon after that, we were winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. I see this happening on the Rams. The Rams drafted in succession Gurley, Goff, and now Cup. coach already called them a triplets. He drafted in succession. You put this team together right now, and whatever they're going through now on the field, I call it losing in growth. What you see San Francisco going through, I call that losing in pain, because a lot of those guys won't be around, but the guys with the Rams, they will be around.
Maybe Wade Phillips is that Norv Turner type presence, bringing him in for the defensive side of the ball while Sean
all
McVay
that talent
handles.
they've drafted for years, and they never really got anything out of it. Now maybe they found a good system for it.
Both of these organizations are looking for continuity, whether it's in coaching or systems or quarterbacks. Continuity. The 49ers have had 4 different head coaches in 4 years. They have a revolving door on this building over here. They need to stop that and have some continuity with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and their systems. You know what? There's a guy named John McVay. He's up in the rafters right there in the Ring of Honor. He was the GM president type guy for Bill Walsh, for George Seifert, and for me. For 2 decades, all right? Talk about continuity. And in the 80s and the 90s, the Niners won more games than anybody by far. 38 was the second closest. Continuity in systems. John McVay was one of them. Oh, yeah. Sean McVay is his grandson.
And I love the fact that they brought McVay, that brought Kyle Shanahan back, because he brings back that old West Coast offense that won Super Bowls here to give you that continuity.
And to stop the revolving door, the Niners gave him and John Lynch 6-year contracts, which are unheard of.
Let him do it. Let him
in
do
the
the
National
job.
Football League. Make sure to check out the NFL social platforms tonight to weigh in on who you think will be the TNF difference maker presented by KFC. You know, I had Sean McVay on my show, Steve, and he talked about meeting Bill Walsh when he was a kid and riding on the team bus as an 8-year-old with Coach Steve Mariucci.
8-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is he name
8-year-old.
dropping?
Now I feel
I'm not
old.
name dropping. I'm just spitting facts.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
Good Morning Football, tomorrow at 7, only on NFL Network.
Tonight, the guys recap all the first half action with highlights and analysis and get you ready for the second half.
They're making big plays left and right here.
The Lexus Halftime Report, tonight, live on NFL Network.
DirecTV customers expect great entertainment along with the best value. So why would we throw our money away with a wireless plan from one of them? Because now AT&T has an exclusive deal just for us when we switch, like saving $25 a month on our DirecTV for life. Plus, we'll get HBO included. Oh, and overage charges? We want those gone. So let's stop paying more to get less. DirecTV customers switch or upgrade to AT&T Unlimited Plus and get this exclusive deal.
I've traveled thousands of miles in 200 years, chasing a ghost.
You still love him?
I never stopped. Wherever you are, James Fraser, I will find you.
Don't have stars? Call now for a great offer.
I mean, it is so beautiful here. It's ridiculous. Every single shot from our aerial coverage is just phenomenal. Now, to use the Berman phrase, Berman who loves this area too, this just in. Better to be 2-0 to make the playoffs than 0-2.
Really?
This just in. Cynthia Freeland, however, puts it to the game theory a little bit better than I just did.
Despite being only 2 weeks into the NFL season, the differences in a 2-0 team making the playoffs versus an 0-2 team seem drastic. But not all hope is lost for one winless team, while one of the unbeatens should be on the lookout. The Chargers sit at 0-2 after 2 close losses.
And he missed it! He missed the kick!
But have an 18% chance to make the playoffs. That's better than any other winless team. Los Angeles plays an easier schedule than their division rivals, and if they're able to upset Kansas City this week, their number climbs up to 25%. Meanwhile, the Panthers are currently 2-0 with wins coming against the 49ers and Bills. Carolina is only scoring touchdowns on 16% of their red zone trips. Couple that with the loss of Greg Olsen, and the Panthers have a 39% chance of making the playoffs. That's lower than any other 2-0 team in the league.
All right, time now to talk about who is in the comfort zone, presented by our friends at Wrangler. You know who's not in the comfort zone? Who? That would be the New York Football Giants, 0-2, and a very hard 0-2. They've never been 0-2 before, where both of the two were of 14 points or more. Can't protect, can't run it, can't throw it, and then they just can't get out of their own way whenever they need Marshall a stop. Now they are in Philadelphia, and it's the Eagles' home opener, Week 3. What do you think about the Giants' chances coming out of an 0-2 hole, sir?
You know, anytime this happens, the first thing we want to talk about is, oh, my God, they need to run the football. But with this offensive line, they can't run the football. They can't throw the football. And I know we want to maybe talk about the wide receivers and some drops, or maybe the defense isn't doing some of the things that they should be doing. But this offensive line, the lack of communication, I mean, an easy TE stunt right here. Guy comes free. Nicky Onside looked like a world beater the other night. I felt like he made the Pro Bowl off this one game because it happened in New York. It's just unbelievable. You can fault Eli all you want, but if you ask me to stand back there and throw the football with that happening, I'm gonna probably throw the ball as bad as he has as well.
Well, first of all, the problem is that they're asking him to stand back there and throw the football that much without trying to find him a run game. They're saying we're going to find a receiver, spread it out, and let you throw us to Super Bowls. That's just not Eli's skill set. I really don't believe that's his skill set. You know, Eli has made there's enough fame to go around on everybody with the Giants. Eli has made some bad throws. Yes, he's been pressured. I understand that. But he has made some bad throws.
The man is scared, okay? He is scared for his life.
But I understand. We only have a few seconds left in this segment.
I understand.
So is there a yes or a no from anybody here? Are they going to rebound from 0-2?
Tough. You know,
they always do.
They do, but you know what? They beat the Cowboys
this might be different
last year,
this year.
right?
This might be different this year, guys.
And they got beat down by the Cowboys, only scored 3 points, and they spent over $100 million on defense. And I thought they would improve the offense. Adding Brad and Marshall he's just a role player. I don't know what his plan is, what their plan is for him. They haven't improved on offense.
Don't try that, Marshall. Don't try that, man. Don't try that. Don't play that game.
Oh, yeah, it's
Marshall.
the Cowboys division.
Don't play that game.
This should be the Cowboys division.
Let's be real. This Giant team is, I'm a little worried about them getting back on track. I don't think this is like
them.
years
You
past.
just worry about the Cowboys. Don't worry about the Giants.
My job is to worry about all 32.
Big game on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys and Cardinals play the final game of the week. The first one with Joe Staley and the 49ers against the Rams, exclusively on NFL Network tonight.
Football's most storied rivalries. It's Bears. It's Packers. When it's on, it's on.
Takes it home for the touchdown.
The Bears charge into Green Bay.
And he will not be touched.
Where Aaron Rodgers and the Packers look to prove that they control the North.
Touchdown.
Thursday night football.
Unstoppable.
When it's on, it's on. Bears, Packers. Next Thursday at 8 on NFL Network, CBS, and streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
Again, it is just a beautiful day and will be a nice, crisp night for football to kick off Week 3 of the NFL season between the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers.
It's a California clash to kick off Week 3. Division rivals ready for a revival as Goff and Gurley guide the Rams north.
Gurley goes over the top, touchdown!
For a showdown with the Niners' talented young defense.
Pulls it down, it goes down! Good surge by that 49er defensive line.
The West Coast takes center stage tonight.
Hey, we need it for tonight.
On Thursday Night Football. Welcome to TNF GameDay, presented by KFC.
It is Week 3 here in Santa Clara, California, site of the Super Bowl a couple years ago, site of Super Bowl 50. Peyton Manning's last game as a professional was played right here. Todd Gurley, Season 1, high quality. Last year, turn the page. This year, He is a first-rate playmaker. Jared Goff, a 300-yard game in week number 1 win. Last week, not so much. We will see what happens here this evening as Goff is back in the Bay Area where he went to school, grew up 40 miles from here. I am Rich Eisen. That is Marshall Falk, Steve Mariucci, who can run for mayor here in this stadium. A number of people are screaming at him that they miss him on the sidelines. I've lost track.
That's family, Rich.
As Michael Irvin is standing right over there, sitting right over there, here on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. Once again, it'll be Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth in the booth and Heather Cox on the sidelines, and she joins us now. Heather?
Hello, Rich. Jared Goff will be the first to tell you that he didn't perform like a first overall pick in his rookie season. But this year, he's already off to a better start, including his first career 300-yard passing game in week 1 against the Colts, thanks to a new head coach, a new offensive system, and new weapons around him. Now, I asked Rams cornerback Trumaine Johnson what he sees in his sophomore quarterback, and Johnson called it a complete 180 from last season, saying that Goff is more vocal, more demanding of his teammates, and has been a different person since day 1 of OTAs. 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh echoed those same thoughts, saying there's no reason to even look at last year's film to prep for Goff because the quarterback and the system are just so different, Rich.
Well, the numbers bear that out so far. Small sample size, clearly, obviously. But the most important number is the one in the first row. 0 last year, 1 this year. He's 1 for 2 this year, and he was 0 for what? 0 for 8 last year. So Jared Goff already far better results in the win-loss column, to say the least, and we're zeroing in on those retired numbers, number 16 of one Joseph Montana, and that is why Jared Goff wears that number in the National Football League. Steve, what do you think of how Jared Goff has looked the first 2 weeks?
You know, he shows signs of being that franchise quarterback that they need, okay? But I will tell you, signs aren't going to get it done. Signs, you need consistently be showing these signs. And he is better than he was as a rookie. There's no doubt about it. What I would do when I was coaching Favre or Steve Young, one of the first things I would always say is, what did you see when you came off the field? What did he see? Well, Jared Goff's vision is improving. You'll see this right now. In the red zone, first game against the Colts, he includes all of these DBs in his vision, and he sees Darius Butler squat as the safety. He throws to Cooper Kupp over the top on a post. Here it again. Play action pass, pop your eyes around, and you got to see the field. See the safety in 2 deep going deep. See the corners leveling in the flat, and he throws it over here to Robert Woods for 27 yards. Now, take a look. You got Watkins and Kupp. His vision has to include linebackers and corners in the area. He doesn't see Mason Foster right here. This is the last series of the game. This is where he could have had better vision on that linebacker and pulled it down, lived for another play. But we're seeing signs. He just needs to be more consistent.
The growth is there for Jared Goff, and if you talk to Sean McVay, he'll tell you that he's taking in more and more of the playbook, and he's owning this offense. A lot of the questions that has to be answered by a quarterback on the field when he doesn't have the coordinator in his ear, Jared Goff is taking the next step. The thing is, these receivers, he doesn't know a lot of them. He's getting on the right page with them, and just watch as the season continues to go. They are going to continue to grow.
And this is why I love that they went out and got him a head coach, an offensive-minded head coach. And what Trumaine Johnson said, let's not bypass that as something small. It's a complete 180. He feels like it's his team because the head coach is who he's spending the most time with. There is no authority above those two on the football field. And when you feel that comfortable, you feel that connection with your head coach, then you do take more control of the football team. Yes, I do believe this kid, and I believe the Rams did find their franchise quarterback, and I believe he is one.
And we'll see how he looks tonight with his first road game as Sean McVay's starting quarterback in the National Football League. Melissa Stark, part of our broadcast as well, outside the stadium with LaDainian Tomlinson. Melissa?
Yes, Rich, we are out here on our lovely NFL media cruiser. We've got the fans.
Nice.
Some 49 fanners out there looking for some touchdowns. We have talked and will talk about how different the Rams are this year. Last year they had the coaching chaos. They had a weak roster. Offensively, how can they get some consistency?
Well, every offense has a foundation of plays that they can always go to. And that's something that they're going to have to build upon. They're going to have to learn as the season goes along. For example, when it's 3rd and 4, what is the play that you go to get that first down? When you want to start a drive, when you need positive yards, what is the play? When I was with the Chargers, we knew what that play was. Our main foundation running play was 40 and 50 power.
I know one of the things that both of you and I were surprised by, Todd Gurley got his first receiving touchdown last week of his career, of his 3-year career. You like the way McVay
foundation play.
You like the way McVay's using him.
I do. I think, you know, this is a 3-down back, and I love that McVay is getting him involved in the passing game. Like I said, that can be a foundational play, getting him involved on 3rd downs.
Well, we'll see if he continues that tonight. He's one of 2 NFL players with 100 receiving and rushing yards through week 2, Rich.
And if the offense struggles as we get to Greatness on the Road, presented by our friends at Courtyard right now, you need to understand that the best weapon that's out there, yes, weapon, is your punter to not only change field position or, if need be, throw the football around. Johnny Hecker winging it outside to get things moving for the Rams last week to help tie the game. That's not just last week as well. Here he is throwing on the run, calling his shot, flipping it in the air and making plays against Green Bay. 8 career completions on 13 attempts. You cannot sleep on one. Jonathan Hecker. Punters are weapons and throwers in mustard, too.
And people, too.
That's correct, sir.
Good excel,
That
Rich.
is correct. Check out. Great breakdown, Rich. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hosts are breakers down of tape, too. Check out who earned the title of Courtyard's Greatness on the Road Player of the Week every week starting Monday morning on NFL.com/GOT. Fisherman's Wharf there in San Francisco. Mooch loves food more than football. We all know that. I just doubted him.
Who you got? LA Rams and the 49ers about to go down. From the West Coast, it's California showdown. You got Todd Gurley who can hurdle over the defense, and Jared Goff at the QB with enough passes to go round. Let's talk about the boy Carlos Hyde in Frisco. That footwork on display got more moves than a disco. And who got Pierre Garçon? Hope they don't switch off. The Niners and the LA Rams ready for kickoff. Let's go.
Still to come on TNF GameDay, presented by KFC. The Rams' 2 leading receivers are both rookies. An inside look at the draft day moves that made it all possible. Plus, will Hyde hit his stride, or will Gurley just keep going? Our 2 Hall of Fame running backs break down tonight's backfield battle. That's all ahead on TNF GameDay, presented by KFC.
I mean, the best job of part of our crew tonight might be just being in that spot with the aerial coverage. Just one beautiful shot of the city by the bay. Like that, Mooch?
I love it.
After the other. Niners and Rams getting set tonight to kick off week 3. Several new additions have provided reasons for optimism about the future of the 49ers, and among them, first-year general manager John Lynch and rookie defensive end Solomon Thomas, who just stopped by our set a few seconds ago while warming up. And as Jeff Chadia reports, the roots of that optimism can be traced to a fortuitous meeting at another prominent Bay Area institution where their paths first crossed in the most unexpected of ways.
Stanford University, one of the world's most celebrated institutions of higher learning. Within these hallowed halls, some of the greatest minds of our time have been molded. Titans of science, business, the arts. It's also the place where 2 current 49ers enrolled in a course on the art of decision-making, the first of several decisions that changed the course of the franchise.
John, I'll start with you first. When did you first have a chance to meet Solomon?
The first time I met Solomon, he was a true freshman. I was the 40-year-old senior. I actually was older than 40. I think I was 42. I left a year worth of school, got in the NFL, and started having kids, and it was just, I never got to finishing it up.
And what do you remember about first seeing him in that classroom with you?
And we sit down, and there's an older gentleman in the front row, and we look to the right, and I'm trying to figure out who it is, and then one of my buddies who's sitting right behind me, he just leans over and goes, "That's John Lynch." And I'm like, "Oh, shoot." And so we were all a little starstruck.
So the class was Decision Making 101. This is the book. We went and found it. What were you learning in this class?
This is an intro into decision making. It's the science behind great decisions. Everyone wants to go off their gut. Here's some actual science that you can apply to life, that it's not just a gut.
We were talking about school a lot, but if we had a chance to talk about football, we definitely talk about it a little bit.
As time went on, Lynch and Thomas continued that conversation. After Thomas became one of the best players in the Pac-12, he faced the biggest decision of his life, and it was time to talk to Lynch again.
I just knew he had a lot of advice. I knew he was in the league a long, I don't know, exact number.
15
years. 15 years, so, you know, there's just so much knowledge there.
At the time, I was working as a broadcaster for Fox. I was with my family actually skiing during the Christmas holiday. And I get a call one morning. They were playing in the Sun Bowl against North Carolina. And he just said, hey, I'm really struggling with this decision. I'm looking for some advice. And my only advice to him was, you got this game, and the last impression's a powerful one, so go play the greatest game you've ever played. And he took it to heart. He dominated that game.
Here comes Solomon Thomas, and down he goes. There's the play of the game by the player of the game.
In January, Lynch became the 49ers general manager. One of his first major decisions was choosing the team's first draft pick. Unlike Thomas's decision to go pro, this one was an easy call.
With the third pick, the San Francisco 49ers select Solomon Thomas, defensive end, Stanford.
You didn't watch his workout. You had seen enough of him, I guess, at that point, and I'm wondering how much did that class and that conversation help you make up your mind about drafting him?
When you're drafting a guy that high, you're looking for it all. That needs to be a game-changing player for not only the organization, for the community, for the culture that we're trying to instill. We had done our scouting, and so what I could speak to probably with a lot more comfort with Solomon, I knew what type of kid he was. You remember when I called you to tell you were drafting, how I started it?
Yeah.
Classmate, it's John Lynch. How you doing, buddy? You want to be a 49er?
I want to be the best player I can for this organization, for everyone in it, for my teammates. You know, I want to make sure that I make him look like the best general manager ever.
I think we both know we're here to win championships. We understand we got some work to go, but if we keep making good decisions like drafting this guy, we feel like that's where we're going to get.
And of course, the 49ers traded down from the second spot to the third overall spot so the Bears could move up and select the quarterback that you just saw Solomon Thomas throw down like a rag doll in that piece, and Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah. Well, it was Mitch Trubisky on that day, I think.
Changed it to Mitchell later.
That's a great story, man. Wow.
They're warming the Foghorn up right now.
It's a city by the bay, Rich.
Well, unfortunately, they haven't heard that noise here very much this year, and that not being facetious. They're still looking for their first offensive touchdown of 2017 after the Thornton Mellon of the organization, John Lynch, going back to school, making his many moves as a triple Lindy right there, with signing Hoyer, Pierre Garçon, Elvis Dumerville for the defense. And then you could see Colin Kaepernick no longer here, and he's still without a job, as everybody knows. And there is Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, who got carted off here in week number 1, waiting to see when he can get back on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. 21 players from 2016 on the roster, and there are 53, as we know, who are on a roster in the National Football League. And there he is, a man who no doubt will have a bust in the same room as Irv and Falk and LT, part of our broadcast tonight. What is his plan, best you can tell, Steve Mariucci?
Well, he's got to rebuild this organization into a winner, and the last time they won was with Jim Harbaugh's teams, and they had great defense. They were in the top 5 4 years in a row. So Trent Baalke started that. Hey, let's draft defense and get back as a top 10 defense. They got Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner in the first rounds in 14 and 15. And then, of course, Solomon Thomas, who stopped by the set just now, and Reuben Foster. Let's build up this defense first, okay? If they can add some parts, you got to, Kittle, the tight end, is starting right now as a rookie. But when we get our franchise quarterback, and I'm not to say it's not Brian Hoyer, whoever it might be, but when that guy is in place, maybe it's a draft choice next year, maybe it's someone else, I don't know, but they'll have a team around him and a defense that keeps the score close, and so that guy has some success as a youngster if that's the way they go.
Well, a lot of people think the starting quarterback that they have their eye on is going to be starting Sunday Night Football against the Raiders in Washington, D.C. I mean,
I don't know if they're going to spend that kind of money on a quarterback. I think they're going to get a young guy early in the draft.
Did I just hear you say we, like when you spoke in we? You did.
Did I say we?
Yeah,
You
you said
no, that was a Freudian slip.
That's French. He was talking
Don't
French.
worry about it. We understand, Coach.
I said me, we.
But I'm going to say this about John Lynch. When you look at his first 3 draft picks, boy, I believe he hit home runs with those guys. And I want to sit here and just say, oh, yeah, we know what he's doing. Oh, no, we don't know what he's doing. But I remember one Thursday night, we were up in Seattle asking this very same question about one Pete Carroll. What is Pete Carroll doing with this team? All these moves, getting rid of this guy, getting this guy. And lo and behold, they ended up in the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. So I'm a reserve. I'm a kind of sit back and let John Lynch do his thing and watch. They have 6 years together. I hope they get to spend all 6 years and then some building this. I just want them to be just right below the Rams, that's all.
Let's not minimize that story we just saw about him and Solomon Thomas, because I think that's important for this reason. Even now, when we're visiting Warren Sapp and we're sitting around and doing a game in Tampa, he comes around, he brings around John Lynch, he brings around Brooks, all of those guys, they still come together. And he knew Solomon, he knew these guys. He's not just drafting athletic ability, he's drafting connectivity between certain people like he had on his Super Bowl championship team down in Tampa. I think that's an incredible story we just watched, because it tells you that he knows about the man and he's trying to put the right men on the field. I do believe that his quarterback is in Washington also. We can just say that, Rich. That's why they're not worried about drafting.
Or will he take a page out of John Elway's book, a guy who he worked underneath in Denver for a while, and say, you know what, we're going to go with a young guy like Simeon because our defense is that good.
Well, you never know. Right now, John Lynch is building up that defense, but Kyle Shanahan's got to get that offense going to score some points and throw the ball down the field. Let's take a look at next-gen stats presented by Amazon Prime here. Take a look at Brian Hoyer throwing the ball down the field. Well, when it's fewer than 10 yards of air yards, that's short stuff, right? 15 to 23. 0 for 3, 10 to 19 yards, and 0 for doesn't even attempt 20-yard passes down the field. I thought you said we
were going to look for him to throw the ball down the field.
Well, he needs to throw the ball down the field because this graphic by Next Gen Stats says he doesn't do that at all. Let's throw it down the field a little bit, score some points.
Well, it's funny. I remember that night with Pete Carroll. It was in 2011 after they beat the Dream Team Eagles and Vince Young that night. It was before they drafted Russell Wilson. All the young defenders really hadn't shown their strength just yet. And there were 2 people that we basically could invite to the set. It was Marshawn Lynch, who wasn't coming to talk, and it was Pete Carroll, who had Skittles thrown at him while he was talking about it. And we did ask him, like, what's your identity, Pete? Like, what is your identity? Because they didn't have that starting quarterback yet, that franchise starting quarterback yet. And that was it. And now look where they are. They are the Seattle Seahawks with the Legion of Boom and a stout defense and Danger Russ Wilson, who is 1-1, by the way. And if the Rams win here tonight and the Titans take care of business against Seattle and Arizona loses to the Cowboys, the Rams could walk out of this field tonight at 2-1 and in first place in the NFC West going into week 4. And if the 49ers win and those other 2 results happen, there'd be a 4-way tie at 1-2 in the NFC West. Lots to think about, food for thought, based on what we're going to see here tonight on Thursday Night Football. Melissa Stark, take it away.
Rich Eisen, we are on the NFL Media Cruiser. LT and I amongst the crowd. We've got some fans who are fired up for a little Thursday Night Football. And I want to revisit a stat that Rich just pointed out. Only 21 players on this 49ers roster that were there last year. So clearly, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have been busy. Who do you see, and the fans are probably interested in this one, LT, who do you see, which players as the core of this 49ers rebuild?
Well, Melissa, I only see one potential core player on offense, and that's Carlos Hyde, the running back. Now, a lot is going to depend on the type of season that he has this year. He's been injured, and he hasn't had a chance to show his full display of skills. But I think he has the talent. He's a 3-down type of back. He's the type of back that I'm very interested in that can lead this franchise on offense. Now, of course, they're going to need to get a quarterback.
They're going to need to get a quarterback. And what about the defense, though? We were just talking about, you know, using the first-round pick the last 3 years on the defensive line. So clearly they're trying to build this defense.
They are, and that's the thing that you have to have in this league. You have to have a defensive line to go get the quarterback. And I love what John Lynch did last year. You know, you draft Solomon Thomas to add to that defensive line, a pass rushing type of defensive lineman, but also Reuben Foster, the linebacker. This guy's a playmaker. He's the new age type of linebacker that you have to have, much like Derek Brooks. So I see what John Lynch is doing. A lot to be desired, obviously, on that offense and defense. But I think there's a lot of optimism that they can that these fans have.
Yeah, Lynch drawing from his Buccaneer days, the memories of that Super Bowl. Yeah, just keeping a big picture, Rich. We got to remember they've got 6 years to do this. So clearly they've got some time here.
Thanks very much, Melissa and LT. As you can see, the Rams front seven is chock full of first-round picks, including Aaron Donald, who came in from the cold, but not in time to start week number 1. Michael, we're on television. There you go. Well, you still continue to text, right? Oh, go to you, Marshall. Go to you, Marshall. How is Wade Phillips going to handle this defense, best you can tell? So
Wade has a knack for turning out good defenses. His defenses, they're going to be top 10, and based on the players, they might be top 5. But the thing I love about Wade is he takes the talent. He takes the talent that he has, and he gets the most out of it. He doesn't just apply a system. He builds a system around the players that he has. And a guy like Robert Quinn is going to, really feast in this system. And then you think about what Aaron Donald brings to this system. Easton Westbrook. Yeah, Alec Ogletree. He has so much talent up front that they are going to be a really good defense.
Yeah, Wade Phillips is one of those guys you say, wow, that name rings a bell because he's the guru on defense. It's like a Dick LeBeau or a Buddy Ryan or some of those guys that bring great experience and great success. He built the Broncos and the Texans defense, and he made stars out of a lot of those guys. He'll do the same. The cupboard certainly isn't bare. This defense that he's taken over is loaded with #1 draft choices. I like his chances. He knows what he wants. He knows how to draft to it, and he knows how to keep it in the top 5.
And everywhere he's gone, and as a defensive coordinator, he's done a great job at getting the best out of those players, and I'm expecting him to do the same right here with the Rams.
And there's Jeff Garcia chatting him up. Jeff stopped by our set. Jeff's one of those quarterbacks you asked, what did you see when he came off the field, Steve?
Yeah, he saw some
chatting with Aaron.
Is Joey Harrington one of those quarterbacks that you asked, what did you see when he came off the field?
Stop. You know, that guy right there, Garcia, had to replace Steve Young. He went to 4 Pro Bowls for crying out loud.
Joey, what do you see? Joey say, Mooch, what did you see?
Is Giovanni Carmazzi one of those quarterbacks that you asked, what did you see?
All right, that did it.
When he came off the field?
What's the next segment?
Is Jim Drunkenmiller one of the quarterbacks?
City by the Bay. I like Drunk. Yep. When Favre was young, he thought, what did you see? Saw the back of the lineman helmet. That's what I saw. It took a while before he started seeing everything.
Have I run out of quarterbacks to ask Steve about what did you see?
I had Steve Stenstrom.
Steve Stenstrom, did you ask him?
I'm going to ask you.
Football night in San Francisco. Well, what I'm seeing is Football Night in San Francisco presented by Lyft coming up.
TNF GameDay is presented by KFC's Nashville Hot and Honey Mustard Barbecue Georgia Gold.
Howdy, folks. I'm here to tell you about KFC's Honey Mustard Barbecue Georgia Gold.
No, tell them about Nashville Hot.
Who said that?
Nashville Hot.
I will wash your mouth out with sweet and tangy chicken.
Try it. You go prove it.
Georgia Gold.
Nashville Hot.
Georgia Gold.
Nashville Hot.
Georgia Gold.
Nashville Hot.
Georgia Gold. Georgia Gold.
No.
What have I become? Try both. Georgia Gold and Nashville Hot at KFC.
Does not get much prettier than the scenic of the San Francisco Bay and San Francisco skyline as framed by the Golden Gate Bridge. It is a beautiful night to kick off week 3 between the Rams and Niners on Thursday Night Football.
1, 2, 3. They coming, D.
I love football.
Ain't no one like me. Spanish. Touchdown.
Welcome to Football Night in San Francisco. Presented by Lyft.
Rams looking for their second win of the season. Niners looking to drum up a win for the first time against a team not named the Rams since they beat the Bears in 2015 in the regular season. Sammy Watkins, that is a rush of color to say the least. Look at that mustard uniform here that the Rams are wearing tonight. Watkins and the Rams are here tonight. Cooper Kupp, there he is, number 18. He went from the Peyton Manning passing camp to now catching passes for Jared Goff and the Rams offense here on Thursday Night Football. And welcome to our coverage here. I waited to be on camera to remove my glasses to look more studious because I learned many things from Michael Irvin at the end of the set. My name is Rich Eisen, and in between Michael and I, that is Marshall Falk and Steve Mariucci. Good to see you guys.
See you, Rich.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
It is. You like that one, huh?
That was good.
Okay,
Rich.
very good.
Yeah,
just trying to see, just trying to keep everybody on their toes here. That's all I'm doing.
It's the beard, Rich.
Todd Gurley, yeah, well, just got to grow it where it grows, Steve. You know what I'm saying? Todd Gurley, what happened to him last year? Fell off the grid, to say the least, after a stellar rookie season. And Sean McVay said coming into the season it's going to be a Todd Gurley-friendly offense. And the first 2 weeks, Marshall Falk certainly has shown that. Is he back to being a top-tier running back in this league, do you
I'm going to say he's back, Rich, and I'm going to show you a couple of plays that lets me know that Todd Gurley is back. I mean, simple football here. We're going to hand it off to him on the left side. We're going to go hat on the hat, and we're going to put this cornerback in the bind. Do you want to tackle? No. Or not. And Todd Gurley, he didn't run him over. He outran him. And here we go. Now the thing is making him available in the passing game. A little easy swing route. Normally you run this guy over, but I'm feeling it right now.
I love this.
That's 5 feet. I'm feeling it right now. I got a little bounce in my step.
Touchdown.
Todd Gurley is back this season. He's in better shape. He's feeling good. He's energized. This offensive line that's anchored by free agent acquisition Andrew Whitworth is proving some dividends. But the one thing that is going to have to continue to happen is you have to throw the football in order to run the football, because the Niners, they're going to stack the box. And as long as we get some production out of Jared Goff in the passing game, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, if you can throw the football, you're going to be able to run the football anytime you want.
But even throwing, Marshall, you just showed a great play where they threw it to him. Todd Gurley last year looked like he was so frustrated that he was just disinterested in this whole situation that was going on with the Rams. And Coach McVay says, hey, you're going to love this offense. And it shows on him. He has a whole new step to himself, man. That was a great play, him jumping over that guy, making that play. I just think he's back to being who he was when they first drafted.
For years, the Rams were building up that defense, spending a lot of #1 picks on it and other draft choices. Now, lately, it's the offense. Let's get our quarterback and our tailback, who can be really good in this league. Let's surround them with a supporting cast. Add some linemen. Marshall, you mentioned Whitworth. How about Sullivan, too, at center? And then you add some passing weapons, right? With Cooper Kupp as a draft choice and Everett and Woods and Watkins as free agents. Have the pass and the threat of the pass and pass the ball to Gurley. All of a sudden, they're more versatile on offense. You can't load the box like they did every down last year.
On the way home, Josh Norman used the Wi-Fi on Air Snyder to tweet at Todd Gurley to say he's watching the film on the way home and to sing his praises as being a beast in this league. And that is as highest praise you can possibly get from an opponent. LaDainian Tomlinson is with Melissa Stark right now. Let's continue this conversation, Melissa.
Yes, Rich, when you have a Hall of Fame running back, you talk running backs. And we are out here with the crowd on the NFL Media Cruiser, and they're chanting LT. Support California, right, for LT. They've been chanting it for quite some time now. They probably want to chant Todd Gurley as well, and we have seen glimpses, right, of him, of his offensive rookie of the year campaign. What are you seeing?
Well, I see the explosive plays are back from Todd Gurley. And last year we didn't see that very much, and maybe it's because he didn't have much room to run last year, and he did seem frustrated with the offense last year. But now we see them utilizing him in the passing game, getting him out in space where he can make those game-changing runs. I just see an explosive player. Now, look, Todd Gurley possessed everything that you can have as a running back. Size, strength, speed, elusiveness. You know, he has it all. And now we're starting to see that, as you mentioned, just like we did in his rookie campaign.
Right, I misspoke. What I meant to say is they're going to be cheering for Carlos Hyde. So let's talk about him for a sec. And what are you seeing in him so far this season?
Carlos Hyde, Well, I see a guy that's more confident in what they're doing on offense. And to be realistic, he's the only guy that they have on offense. So I think he has some onus on him to say, you know what, I need to make more plays for this offense. I'm the go-to guy, and as you see this play here, look at the vision. This is an outside play, but he reads the blocking so well on this play. Look at that whole patience. It's patience to the hole, speed through the hole. Watch how he hits it. That's the type of burst that you want from a Carlos Hyde, and that's the type of thing that he possesses.
Yeah, they are relying on him. He leads the NFL in percentage of team offense through 2 weeks. All right, Rich, we send it back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Melissa. LT. There is Jared Goff. Cal Bear, now here in Santa Clara, trying to beat the team that is being run by a Stanford grad.
Let's go now.
Hyde muscles his way to the end zone. Touchdown 49ers!
Tavon Austin. Touchdown LA.
And we've got a ball game.
Let's go.
Football Night in San Francisco is brought to you by Lyft. Whether you're heading to the game or headed to the store for 7-layer dip, it matters how you get there.
Get your Sunday started at 7 a.m. with NFL GameDay morning.
Do ye a favor and follow me.
The 0-2 Giants head to Philly in turmoil.
Sloppy quarterback play.
Our quarterback, Kurt Warner, will let you know if Eli and Odell will turn things around. And Tom Brady broke out in a big way last week, but his off-field heroics are even more impressive.
Nice to meet you. I'm Tom.
The emotional story of how the Patriots granted one special fan's request. All that, plus in-progress highlights of the Ravens and Jags from London. NFL GameDay morning starts Sunday at 7 a.m. Then at 9, it's Rich, Mooch, Marshall, Kurt, and Michael, taking you right up to kickoff.
Oh, traffic seems to be moving very nicely in both directions on the Golden Gate Bridge. And since I'm doing the traffic, I might as well do the weather. It's a very nice night. No rain in the forecast whatsoever. A little chilly out in the shade here, Steve.
Mediterranean climate. This is, sunny during the day and nice and cool.
Rich Eisen with Steve Mariucci, your traffic and weather together on the 8s. Okay, on the 2-8s. There's Jared Goff warming up here in Santa Clara. Not only do the Rams have the NFL's youngest head coach and 31-year-old Sean McVay, they now have the second youngest roster in the entire league following a major revamp, much of which has come through the draft. And this past year, the Rams were featured on Amazon's All or Nothing series and allowed a rare look inside their war room on draft day. That's good stuff. Gerald Everett, who is questionable, by the way, coming into this game with a thigh injury, he is active. He is up. And you will see Cooper Kupp. The Whitworth signing, I think you're going to see tonight. Obviously, it works very well for the Rams offensive line. As we saw last week, the offensive line he used to belong to on Thursday Night Football, we saw the results on that front as well, to say the least. Right, exactly what we did not see. And there is Gerald Everett right there as we are focusing on tonight's key ingredients presented by Bud Light. Marshall?
Jerry, I mean, and you heard it. He is the Jordan Reed that Coach McVay was looking for. 6'3", 245-pounder out of South Alabama. This guy can run all the routes. He understands how to get open versus zone, and he catches everything. His run after the catch ability is impeccable. This guy is going to be the blankie for Jared Goff.
And I love that. It gives him a chance to play the game inside out with a tight end like that, and with this guy right here. You call a tight end a blankie? I call Kupp his blankie.
Two blankies.
Yeah, you can have two blankies because that's what he has, two blankies. And you get both of these guys, man. And I love this kid. This kid, knows not only how to get open, I love that he knows exactly when to be open. And that's so important in this league when you're an inside guy to know when to be open. He's always available, Coach.
These guys were great gets now. You know, they're from directional schools, right? Eastern Washington, Southern Alabama. Had they gone to Washington and Alabama, they might have been first-round picks. So they go to smaller schools and they slip in the draft, and they're going to be great players. How about Andrew Whitworth? We just saw the Cincinnati Bengals. Boy, do they miss this guy. How about a bodyguard on the left tackle for Jared Goff? This guy was a great acquisition.
When you have an offensive line, every good offensive line, there's an anchor. This guy is an anchor. There's a play in preseason against the Los Angeles Chargers, an interception, a sack fumble strip, which ran back by Ingram. He almost caught him. 80 yards. The tackle almost ran him down.
Yeah, that's that anchor.
He's
an
athlete.
You need that anchor. I admire anchor in Eric Williams. And all you got to do is go to anchor and say, get the rest of this line together. And they get it together. This guy right here, though, I'm talking with him last year. I know how frustrated he was at some of the things that went on in Buffalo. I know he's so happy to be here with the Rams and an offense that does the things that this offense does and give him an opportunity to do. This is the key cog to making all of this go. He's the up-top guy. When everybody back up, then he can drop anything and everything he wants to Cup and Everett.
And the thing is, he's not just an up-top guy. You throw him one of the screens or you get him that ball outside, he's a tough guy to bring down. He has brought a whole different attitude and a level of professionalism to some young receivers.
Where were you in your coaching career at age 31, Steve?
I was in college still. I was at Cal. Why?
Yeah, because
I was still looking for my car keys at 31 years old. I wasn't ready to be a head coach in the National Football League.
Look at him out there. There's the head coach
Sean
of the
McVay.
LA Rams.
You know, this guy right here is exact right guy that we need over at the Rams. We've been building up this defense. Now, let's get something out of these offensive weapons. He was the tutor for Kirk Cousins, made Kirk Cousins a lot of money over in Washington the last 3 seasons. Now he's here with Jared Goff with a good, friendly quarterback system. Let's go to the next level.
And fascinatingly enough, he's a Niner legacy. His grandfather, one of the greatest grocery shoppers of all time, John McVay, who built the legendary Niner teams of the past. Let's see what happens in the present tonight. Back with more from Santa Clara.
One of football's most storied rivalries. It's Bears. It's Packers. When it's on, it's on.
Takes it home for the touchdown.
The Bears charge into Green Bay,
And he will not be touched.
where Aaron Rodgers and the Packers look to prove that they control the North.
Touchdown.
Thursday night football.
Unstoppable.
When it's on, it's on. Bears, Packers. Next Thursday at 8 on NFL Network, CBS, and streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
It's Aaron Donald. What a move. Goodness, does he get hammered? Aaron Donald got all the way home. He is sacked. Aaron Donald brings him down.
Aaron Donald is a freak. You can't block him.
Now this is Ram football right here. This is the Ram football.
Yes, to use a phrase we've heard around these parts many times, number 99 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Aaron Donald out there on the field. Heather Cox, take it away.
Rich, as you mentioned, Aaron Donald missed all of training camp because of a contract dispute and didn't report until the day before their first game. So he missed week 1, but started Sunday after only 3 days of practice. Now, while he wasn't with the team, Donald says he studied the playbook, he watched practices on his iPad, hoping to make re-entry as smooth as possible, but said he was disappointed with the way he played on Sunday, saying, quote, "I need to knock off those cobwebs." He admitted he failed with some of his one-on-one matchups as the Redskins rushed for 229 yards, but insists that fatigue was not a factor, nor was playing in the 3-4 scheme of new defensive coordinator Wade Phillips. And Rich, in his first game, Donald was held to a pitch count. But tonight, Coach McVay says there are no restrictions on the number of snaps he plays.
Okay, there you go. No pitch count on Aaron Donald. Steve, explain to me a pitch count. I mean, if you're well enough to play a football game, shouldn't you be able to play every down?
Well, not if you just showed up for training camp. You don't want to pull a hammy if you're not in top shape.
Right.
So they're going to ease you in. He played 40-some snaps instead of 60.
He played quite a few snaps.
Yeah,
I mean,
he played.
So what's the
alternate defensive lineman anyway?
What's the impact tonight, do you think?
Well, Wade Phillips came because Aaron Donald's here. He said, hey, I got a good bunch of guys, and Aaron Donald is to this Rams defense as J.J. Watt was to Houston or Von Miller was to Denver. Hey, look at this tape. This guy played last year in a 3 technique. That means he's an outside shade over the guard, and they always covered up the center, so he got a single. He has quick hands, quick feet. Down goes Stafford. Watch him again. He plays right side, left side. Here he is on the other side now. Cam Newton, again, single, one-on-one against the guard. Boom! Down goes Cam Newton. This is against the Redskins last week. In his first, watch the hustle, though. He looks like he's got fresh legs to me in a 3-4 scheme. He's going to chase this ball, fly around a little bit, and that's just the start. You got to give up a lot of yards rushing, but this defense under Wade Phillips and Aaron Donald, with all these other ones on that defensive front, will be a terrific defense soon.
I just think about the talent that has gotten all of the accolades that we are talking about. Now you team him with a guy in Wade Phillips who understands schematically, how to put you in place. This guy is going to be unstoppable. If you think about the line of people whom Wade Phillips has worked with, I mean, Sean Merriman, Reggie White, Bruce Smith, Ricky Jackson, Bryce Pop, all guys who impacted and dominated football games.
Nobody since this kid was drafted at defensive tackle has made more sacks and more tackles for loss than Aaron Donald. And I want to throw this out because I thought and I was worried that the Rams were messing up something here because this kid has been excellent on the football field, excellent off the football field, and I worried about the message they were sending to such a young team by not taking care of him, you know, and that could linger on in your football team. So it's great to have him back. He will have an impact not only on this game, on every game he plays, because that's just the type of player he is.
In 14, he was the Defensive Rookie of the Year, and in this scheme under Wade Phillips, he will be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year without a doubt.
And I know we've sung the praises defensively of the Rams, and it's well-deserved. But speaking on, I guess, my behalf, and those who watched the Bengals become a team with no touchdowns in their first 2 games of the season last Thursday night, the San Francisco 49ers has still yet to score a touchdown this season. We have to have one tonight on Thursday Night Football.
Well, let's get one, Rick.
Just, I mean, I know there's
not going to be easy.
I know there's no I in NFL Network. You know what I mean? Like one for the team. One for the team. That's all I ask. Got to get one touchdown.
Football Night in San Francisco is brought to you by Lyft. Whether you're heading to the game or headed to the store for 7-layer dip, it matters how you get there.
At San Francisco, California, just up the road from where we are going to watch the Rams and 49ers kick off Week 3 on NFL Network.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Welcome to Football Night in San Francisco. Presented by Lyft.
We are in Santa Clara, California, as the 49ers take on a former Cal Bear. Back in his home area, back in his college area, Jared Goff. And the LA Rams are here against Carlos Hyde, coming off a 100-yard game a few days ago against Seattle amongst the 12s. A family affair, apparently, here inside the stadium, Levi Stadium. My name is Rich Eisen. Pleased that you are here with us live once again on NFL Network to kick off yet another week of Thursday Night Football. Week 3 begins here tonight. I'm alongside my Hall of Fame friend Marshall Falk. Steve Mariucci could run for mayor here, and as always, establishing the perimeter here on our set is none other than Michael Irvin. Good to see you, Irv.
Good to be here.
All right, Marshall, what are you expecting to see tonight?
You know, in this rivalry game, Rich, it always comes down to the battle in the trenches, and I want to see which offensive line facing Solomon Thomas and Aaron Donald and the Mob Squad can control that offensive line. We're going to see plays made on the outside. but watch the battle in the interior. He who wins this game.
You know what I'm looking forward to? Jared Goff coming home. He's from right up the street here in Novato, across the bridge, might pay the toll. He went to Marin Catholic High School and University of California. We're talking about Jared Goff. He grew up a 49er fan, a Joe Montana fan, right?
A lot of
number
distractions.
16. He still does. He's coming home tonight.
A lot of distractions when you come home and play in front of family. But I'm looking forward to is watching this team and the maturation process in this young Rams team. And I remember when we were coming through early on, and Norv Turner would say, if we're going to be what we're going to be, we have to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. And they're supposed to beat this team here, the 49ers, tonight. I want to see that maturation, and you step up and play and win this game.
And with the Seahawks having a tough road trip to Tennessee and Arizona finishing up week number 3 against the Dallas Cowboys, Rams win this thing here tonight. My papers are blowing all over the place. Good thing I know this fact up here. Rams would be 2-1. They could lead this division by the end of the week. The Niners, however, would love to spoil all of that with their first win of the season. Play against the experts in the weekly Pick'em game presented by Lexus. Go to NFL.com/Pick'em and see if you know more than the pros. Still more to come here from Santa Clara while I go and get more paperweights.
Football Night in San Francisco is brought to you by Lyft. Whether you're heading to the game or headed to the store for 7-layer dip, it matters how you get there.
The famed Lombard Street. Better take your dizzy pills before driving down that street here in San Francisco. Just a beautiful city. If you've never visited, do yourself a favor and find the time. There's Jared Goff out on the field trying to get the Rams their first winning season since Kurt Warner's final year with the team in 2003. It has been a long time since there's more W's than L's for the Rams organization. How do you think that Jared Goff's going to look tonight?
You know what? I expect him to come out and play well. They're going to give him a lot of concepts that they ran last week, and I believe that the poise that he showed, that last interception, you could tell he was upset about it. He's going to take advantage of what's out there tonight.
Man, just walking in this stadium with number 16 over here, I guarantee you he's going to look at his number on his chest, look at the number in the rafters, and say, I will represent you well today on this football field.
Let's check out tonight's starting lineups presented by our friends at Lyft. And first up is you, Marshall Falk.
Yeah, and I have Todd Gurley here, 2015 Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's 4th in the NFL this season with 232 yards from scrimmage. Last week, 2 touchdowns. Todd Gurley, he's going to have a lot to say if the Rams win today.
It's going to be a great matchup with that Todd Gurley and this guy right here, NaVar Bowman, because he is back and playing well. First week, 5 tackles. He's getting better every week coming off that knee surgery. Last week, 11 tackles versus Seattle. He's not all the way back to the old NaVar Bowman, but he is on his way.
Yeah, well, how about the second rounder from the Ohio State University, Rich? He's in his 4th year. Carlos Hyde. It's a contract year for him, so look for big things out of this guy. Last week against the Seattle defense, 124 yards rushing. In fact, he's got the highest percentage of any team's offense so far this year with 43.8% of their yards. Carlos
Spoken
Hyde.
well by a man from the Northern Michigan right over there. And then, of course, there's the defense that's going to try and prevent Carlos Hyde from hitting triple digits, let alone the end zone. The 49ers have yet to score a touchdown this season. And the number of points that they had in Seattle last week, as you could see, is on Aaron Donald's chest twice as he tries to keep the Rams in the win column as they did in week number 1. Steve Mariucci looking great out there, Steve. Oh, that's not Steve. My bad. That's Banjo Man. That's Banjo Man.
Not at home for Thursday Night Football? No problem. Watch live primetime games with NFL Mobile only from Verizon.
All right. is time to talk about who is winning tonight, presented by Lyft. And we start with LaDainian Tomlinson. You first, sir. What do you have?
Rich, I'm still here in the media cruiser, and the fans are still here. They're excited. They're enthusiastic. They want to see a win tonight. But as you alluded to, the 49ers haven't scored a touchdown yet, so it's hard for me to pick them tonight. I'm going with the Rams, 24-16.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right. Very good. Almost a very Corso-like moment right there for LT. I've seen that the Rams have packed their defense in their running game, and I think that the 49ers will stay out of the touchdown zone tonight. They'll stay touchdownless. I go 17-9. Rams win this one tonight.
You know what, Rich? I actually feel like the Niners will score their first touchdown tonight, but the Rams will win. I'm going 21-13 Rams.
Yeah, well, let me give you a tidbit, fellas, all right?
Give it to us, Mooch.
In the 49ers' last 22 games.
Oh, boy.
They're 3-0 against the Rams, and they're 0-19 against everybody else, okay? Who are we playing tonight, Marshall? We're playing your Rams, all right?
Not these Rams, though.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a closer game. They are going to score a touchdown. Niners win 24-20.
Oh.
You live here. Yeah, at least we all have them scoring a touchdown. I got the Rams winning 28-16. So the Niners will get a touchdown and 3 field goals to get there.
Steve, you don't coach here anymore.
He lives here.
You don't coach.
You want me to change my pick?
No.
That's a lone wolf, Rich.
It is. You want to howl?
No howling. No howling on Thursday. You only howl on Sunday mornings.
All right, very good.
The end zone, Rich. Come on.
Huh? Sorry? I might be wrong, but I say 17-9 is my final score right here. And
3 field goals.
I stand by it.
Wow.
I stand by it.
It's going to be a good game.
Okay, so that is it for our coverage pregame football night in San Francisco, presented by Lyft. Next time you see us, we'll be at halftime of this game. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Heather Cox with the broadcast. NFL Network's exclusive coverage of Week 3 kickoff from Santa Clara. It's the Rams and the 49ers. See you all at halftime.